So I don't forget. Like 30 seconds on, I think. Should we be like totally quiet and make it awkward? Are the other meetings really serious? The public safety meeting, we're gonna go ahead and begin. I will do the roll call. Present right now is myself, Councilmember Baldwin, and Councilmember Fullerton. Do we have to say that?
I think
I
so.
don't think I do.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. And we're gonna go to agenda item C, the approval of minutes. I did look over the minutes and they look fine to me. So we're gonna move on to item D, department reports and presentations. We will begin with East Pierce Fire and Rescue Monthly Report. Chief Parkinson.
All right, my report begins on page 5, and I'll just go through the stats quickly, and if there's any questions afterwards, happy to answer those. Just looking through slides 5, 6, 7, looking at where stats are year to date, things are normalizing back to where we would expect to see them. If you recall, a few months ago, due to weather events back in January, it did really skew our stats just because of the call volume that we saw because of the cold snaps that lasted for about a week or so. So it just takes some more calls being entered into the system to start to bring things back in normal. That's brought our response times and call volumes back into where we would expect to see them. And then the other thing that kind of threw out of whack was what percentage of calls we were actually responding to, which you'll see on page 9 in the pie chart, where it made our EMS call percentage go way down just because of the amount of service calls we had during that time frame. So we're approaching back to our normal range, which is about 75% typically year over year. And then separately from that, just some good to know items that are coming up. We had a vacancy for our fire commissioner due to the death of Mike Cathy a few months ago. Justin Evans was selected by the Board of Fire Commissioners to fill his vacancy, so he'll be being sworn in next Tuesday.
What's he doing?
He's filling the
Fire
fire commissioner seat that was vacated by Mike Cathy. So he'll hold that seat until the November 2025 election. We do have firefighter interviews this week. We're currently in the recruitment process for our fall fire academy. We have 6 vacancies that we're filling with new recruits. So excited to see that happening. And then all this month and into July, I've got city council visits that are going on, and I will be in front of the council tonight. So you'll get to hear me speak twice.
Okay.
And it should all be old news to you. But that is all that I have. If there's any questions, I can answer.
How many commissioners are there? Just a question.
7.
Okay, 7.
Yeah, we were the first 7 commissioner board in the state.
Gotcha.
Due to mergers back in the day. This predates me, but at some point we had something like 14 or something.
Okay.
And then do the scale down, and then we got approval from the state to do 7.
Right. Okay. And that's to fill Mike Cathy's spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't have any more questions. Do you? Okay. All right. We will move on to our Bonney Lake Police Department monthly report. Chief Barry.
Hi, good afternoon. So just kind of looking over some of the patrol activity that went out as particular calls. There was the house fire on 204th Ave East that we discussed earlier. Just following up, we discussed it last week, nothing criminal of nature, just a tragic fire. You do see that there's a stabbing at the old winery, and that actually was occurring the day we were doing the meeting here. Yeah, and that is actually in unincorporated Pierce County by about 400 yards, but we still respond as part of mutual aid. And you'll see that repetitively, like the reported the homicide shooting over the weekend that I emailed about, same type of thing. It's Bonney Lake, it's not actually in the city limits, but we'll still go to assist the sheriff's deputies, particularly since there's 2 of them. We did do a report at Allen York Park about some of the vandalism in progress. We're getting reports from our public works about kids spray painting the skate park. So the officers did a great job of doing some proactive patrols down there and detained a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old. They're both trespassed. Those charges will be going forward. Looking at the stats, I was looking at all the stats, and by and large, they're looking great. They're trending the right way. We are seeing lower crime in almost every category.
Last year, he was discharged last week. Yeah, he's back. Back? Yeah, now he's back.
The intimidation portion, that's interesting that all of a sudden 4 of those versus 0 last year. I need to look into those and see what those are. I suspect they're either bullying or something to do with a lot of cyberbullying that we're getting going on with our younger adults. And then drug and narcotic offenses, you see it jump year to date to 15 so far versus 2 last year. That does not mean we have a sudden surge here of more drugs. That's with the reversal of the Blake decision. Now drugs are illegal. So this time last year, we weren't able to make arrests and prosecute for them. So that's
So
why you're,
it's reflecting fairly similar.
yeah, it's an
Okay.
artificial spike. Right?
Gotcha.
It is not
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, we should.
Well,
be
we knew when
really
it went
concerned.
down, that was artificial.
Yeah, exactly. Related to that, overdoses, you don't see anything about overdoses. We code those as a medical aid call. We don't track those as criminal at all. So I don't have overdose data for you. When you see the drug stuff, we don't have overdose data. And the reason is we don't want people to not call 911 when someone's overdosing because they're worried about criminal charges. So we will go administer Narcan, help fire any way we can, and then we don't pursue criminal charges, even though they were clearly in possession of something, because we're trying to get them medical aid help.
Is there a way to like still track that, like not,
You know, trapped through fire.
oh, okay, got it.
It's harder than you think.
Okay, okay.
Just because we are limited by how our responders code.
Okay,
And ultimately, if they don't, it's like we can track by a number of different categories.
yeah,
But if it's unclear to them how, what the actual cause was, they can categorize it a few different ways. So we typically have to get clever and do some word searches. It's very easy if we administer a medication to say, hey, search for medications where.
is there a way
instead of
for,
Narcan.
yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking,
Yes.
is there a way to be able to see that data?
There,
As far as how often they're administering Narcan to somebody?
yes.
Okay.
Typically, it's not, I mean, I shouldn't say more often than not. It's not uncommon for us to be on scene where it's already been administered by police or by
Gotcha.
bystander.
Oh, okay,
So in which case it may or may not show up in our report if we
Okay.
weren't the ones administering it.
is
So
that easy to track?
I can have
Because
I can
sometimes
get some
people ask
stats
me to
pulled
pull
for next
data.
month and see what we'll see what we're doing district wide and then
Okay.
like within the city limits. And
Okay.
Tacoma Pierce County Health Department does track like overdose deaths.
Mm.
So we're able to see through the years fentanyl related deaths through Tacoma Pierce County Health.
Mm, okay.
Going back to the criminal stats, the one that I keep talking about are those juvenile arrests, right? We are twice of what we were last year. That is a trend throughout the region. One of the problems we are having, frankly, is Raymond Hall, which is the juvenile facility here in Pierce County, won't accept anyone that's not felony violent for crimes. I want to make it really clear too, there's misperception about Raymond Hall. It is not run by the sheriff's department and it is not run by the county. It is run by Superior Court. So the judges assigned to it are actually making those decisions. They report to voters. They don't report to city councils or county councils. So we are trying to inform the new judge about the concerns we're having. So a frequent thing that happens is we have a domestic violence incident where maybe a teenager punches his mom. And we're not allowed to take him to Raymond Hall to separate him from the family. We have to release him back to his family. So we do try and work with families to find other family members. Can we find a cool down spot? Are there some other social services where this juvenile can go? But in the end, we frequently, especially at 2 a.m., have to re-release them right back to the facility that we're trying to take them from. So that is one of our concerns that's going on. I think that is one of the spikes in juvenile crime. I would catch kids in a stolen car. Can't book them in. There's no repercussions really for them. So that's the spike.
Grand Theft Auto be a,
It's that
felony?
it's a non-violent
Mhm.
felony.
oh,
So short of aggravated
like,
assault,
rip somebody
using
up.
weapons
Yeah.
against somebody. So we had an incident at one of our schools where there was a fight, there was bullying going on, there was a straight out attack. And you could see the progression going on, and we couldn't remove the person and put them in a detention facility, even though we argue there's gonna be a
Because Raymond
progression,
wouldn't.
because Raymond Hall won't hold them. So that's really what I think is causing this crime, and there's no repercussions.
So basically just voters need to be aware that this is like.
Voters should be aware, and we are working the Pierce County Police Chiefs Association with the new Superior Court judges to give them a little education, because they were of the impression that every felony crime gets booked in, and we're like, oh, no, it does not. And here's the statistics to prove it.
Just to make sure, it's basically, it doesn't necessarily have to be a felony, but it needs to be violent crime. Or it has to be.
It has to be basically a felony
Okay.
violent crime.
Okay,
So
got it.
a simple assault, kids get into a
Right.
fight,
Okay, not.
not.
Okay. Sorry, one more question.
Sure.
So I'm looking at the juvenile, stats, and I want to make sure I'm looking at the right
Mhm.
numbers. I'm looking at this right. So year to date, we have 136, but last year it was 153 from this time at this time period.
Well, that includes adults and juveniles.
Oh, thank you. Oh, does it?
Yeah, so
Am I reading that right?
there's two sections, total adults and total juveniles.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, at this time, we had 123 adults.
Yeah, okay, I
and
see
then
that.
13 juveniles, that gave us the 136.
Oh, yes, a double. Got it. I'm reading the data properly now.
And then you'll just see that our call volume is actually going up. We're at 6294 this year versus about 200 calls more this year than we had last year. I do also want to finally say, with those lower crime stats, I really like the trend. It's what we want to see. But I also want to remind everyone that we are recovering from record high crimes. So even though our stats are going down, the crime rates are still higher than they were in 20 and 21.
Okay, but the 200 more calls is a reflection that the crime is still problematic?
Yeah, I think our crime levels, I think the higher call volumes we're just a bigger city. Right? And you're naturally going to get more calls, because you actually see our reports are going down.
Yeah, I do see
And
that.
I think a lot of that is we instituted the online report system. So now people are able to go in and they can do an online reporting without an officer come on and do it. So,
Okay.
overall, 200 more calls a year isn't terribly substantial.
Okay.
What would you do an online report for?
So normally if someone comes out and there's no suspect information, it's a property crime. So I come out in the morning and maybe my car's been broken into and I'm missing my CDs, or
Yeah.
I guess no one has this anymore. So, yeah, your car's been broken into, there's no suspect information. There's nothing for us to follow up on, and maybe you need to get to work.
Yeah,
You have the ability to go online and then you just submit the report, we approve it, and you can provide it to your insurance company.
When did that go online?
You like it went online right around April 1
And that's just right on where again?
on our website. So you can go to the police department website and there's a file an online police report button.
Awesome. Has that been, like, is there numbers to show like how many people are utilizing that?
There are, I don't have them, but
Okay,
I'll get them for you.
Yeah, okay. No rush. I'm just curious, like how often people are using it, because it is convenient.
It's really convenient for our box stores and our other stores.
Yeah.
You can do some of the shoplift reports.
You get
for us right
stuff
there.
recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Any questions?
No, you've asked you so many already.
yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Chief Barry. We're now going to move on to the prosecutor's office monthly report. I think City Attorney.
Thank you. So for the month of May, we had a total of 487 case hearings. So that was different cases where we were representing the city in court. We had 15 arraignments. That's new cases with new charges being filed. We reviewed 26.2 hours of body worn camera. So that's our office looking at the video, making sure that it's the right video, that it shows what we think it shows, and making sure that, you know, there aren't any new charges that we think should be filed. And that was actually a total of 51 independent videos. So a lot of the videos we're getting are short, but we still are having to review them. From the community court side, we have 14 participants in community court. Those are people that are working on what they need to do to be rehabilitated into society, to gain sobriety and become a contributing member of society and no longer kind of be on this, criminal path. We have 4 pending referrals, so 4 potential people that could be coming into community court. The community court team attended the All Rise 24 conference. That was in Anaheim. That's where we learned new cutting edge strategies and techniques for community court so we can engage these participants on the therapeutic level to get them what they need for mental health, drug addiction therapy so that they can become sober and get what they need. And all of that cost of attending that conference was paid for with the community court grant. On May 13th, we had a community court participant graduate. That person had been in the program for a while, and they'd had some up and downs, but they've been sober for I think a long time now. So that was a really great thing to attend. For youth engagement, our community court program, Carla Lewis, the community court case manager, worked with the creative design classes at the Bonney Lake and Sumner High School, and went out and they designed a postcard and poster for the community court program. And so that was an opportunity for them to have like a real world like experience, like designing something as if they're a graphic art designer. Yeah, so that, and I
Very
included
real
the snippet from the newsletter, from the school newsletter about that in my report. And so my office, the prosecutor's office, has also been engaged with the creative design class, and they're putting together like a Rule 9 like flyer, because we've been trying to hire a Rule 9 intern for the last 2 summers and school years. We've been trying to hire someone. We haven't been able to hire someone. It's unfortunately an unpaid position. So we pay with experience. So they're putting together a flyer for us. So hopefully we can recruit someone in the future. And then I also, we had the Bonney Lake High School photography club come out, and they took mock trial photos. So we had the courtroom without any like actual real like defendants, witnesses, or victims in it. It was just prosecutor office staff, and they took like mock trial photos of us like at the prosecution table. We had one of the students volunteer to be a witness that we were, doing a cross examination and direct examination of. So kind of like mock trial, like action photo shoot. And it was a great opportunity for the high school students who are in the photography club to get like experience. They also did some like professional headshot photos of us. Kristen Visna, she attended several months ago a 40-hour domestic violence and victim online course, and she applied for and just received it's the National Advocate Credential Certificate at the provisional level. So there's several different levels for having a victim certificate, and she's now at the provisional level, which is the lowest level. And so as a result of going through this course, she was able to get that. And then as she gets more experience, she can apply and go up level wise. And then next Monday on June 17th, we have a college intern who's going to be interning with our office. So we weren't able to get like a law student, like a Rule 9, but we were able to get a college intern. And that person's starting on June 17th, pending passing the background check.
Okay, can you talk to me more about, you keep saying Rule 9 internship?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
So Rule 9 in Washington State, after you finish your second year of law school, you can have a Rule 9 license to practice law. It's like a limited license. You can only practice under the direct supervision of an attorney. And so you actually can appear in court and argue in court and get that real world like attorney experience. Like our college intern won't be able, that person can attend court and watch and maybe help with some like behind the scenes paperwork, but they aren't able to actually like, cross-examine a witness, direct examine a witness, do an opening argument or closing argument to a jury. A Rule 9 under that limited kind of baby law student license to practice law under very much more supervised, a higher level of supervision from the attorney. And if the sitting judge is comfortable with it and approves, they can even appear without that attorney that's the supervisor being in court with them. So it's nice because that's been a low cost way in the past for us to have backup coverage for court. The cost of having our backup like a law firm come in and provide prosecution coverage when we have an attorney outage. Those costs have gone up 140% in the
Mm.
last 2 years. So that's a really, cause we, it's a way to have that coverage. And also train a future lawyer, that's going to go out into the society and hopefully become a prosecutor and have a passion for criminal law and maybe work at a city in the future. So unfortunately, we have not been able to hire a Rule 9 intern.
Okay, so this is basically like they've graduated from law school, they finished like a basic internship, and now Rule 9 is even above that.
A Rule 9 you can get while you're in law school. You just have, so law school is 3 years long and it's after you've finished your second year of law school. So they can do it while they are in law school.
So third year law students?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you have one beginning?
We have a college intern, so they are not in law school, they are in college. So they are not able to do like any sort of representation of the city in the courtroom. They can basically do kind of administrative work.
Gotcha.
And also just, the observing what happens in court.
Okay, very good. All right, I don't have any more questions. Do you have something?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you so much. We will move on to item E. One for flock safety grant. I'm assuming that's an acronym. Chief Barry?
Yes, so flock safety grant is a idea I brought forward 2 public safety meetings ago. These are the license plate reader cameras at intersections. So what I'm bringing forward to you and my goal is to present the idea and get enough support to say, go ahead, bring it to a workshop where I would bring a representative of flock and myself to do a full presentation about it. But I want to give you at least enough of a baseline where I'm not asking for a yes or no vote, but maybe we're interested enough to hear more about this.
Okay, so I do have an example.
Okay,
There was a young man who committed a murder in New York. And then he proceeded to fly to Arizona. He he attacked 2 workers that were on break. He went into the female bathroom at McDonald's in Surprise, Arizona, and attempted to rape the girl in the bathroom. He crawled under the stall, and then he left and went to a Starbucks worker who was in her car, both around 20 years old, and he had like a fake gun that he pulled on her and told her he was going to kill her. So she let him in. Well, luckily he didn't take her and kill her like the plan was. He took her car. So the Surprise police sent the license plate of the stolen car around Arizona, and Scottsdale police had those cameras, and they found him in the parking lot of Fashion Square Mall. And he was sitting in the parking garage waiting to attack a young lady, and his whole goal was to basically become a serial killer, and he admitted to that. So that would
So is that like a
license plate recognition at its best, where they were able to catch a potential serial killer. He had killed or attacked somebody in Florida, and he got out on no bail in Florida somehow, and then he didn't get arrested in New York. And so he was able to escape down, but he called his family because he was planning on killing his family who lived in Arizona. And they called the police and alerted them. So that's when they found out that he'd already attacked 2 young ladies and then had stolen the car.
yeah,
So is that what we're talking about? Is
Correct.
like license plate recognition?
yeah, I'll tell you all about it, and I can tell you about some real good local examples of how it's been used to solve crimes. So, what the flock system is, are what we're proposing that we would purchase, actually lease, are fixed license plate readers, call them a video camera at primary intersections within the city that we would monitor. So there's no audio. It doesn't record audio, so we don't have an expectation of privacy concerns there. And these are public intersections. So again, these are not something that are on the bumpers of our cars when we're driving through a neighborhood or recording as we go. These would just monitor fixed areas. So what is the grant? We've actually been awarded the grant, but we have not accepted the grant.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, we were awarded $179,000, and that will pay for 2 years, fully fund this with no expense to the city council or to the.
Even with the
citizens of Bonney.
installation?
Even with the installation. It is a lease program. So at the end of 2 years, if I'm not able to find another grant to pay for it, or if the city council hates it, at the end of our contract, we can walk away. No fees, no penalties. Flock just takes their stuff, packs up and goes to the next city with their equipment. So financially,
Yeah,
there's not a risk to the city. It's a 2-year contract, and I've confirmed with both WAPA that they'll pay for the 2 years in advance. We can pay it in advance. I've confirmed with Flock, 2 years is the minimum length we can run, and we can walk away at the end of 2 years if we don't like it.
so let's say we like it,
Mhm.
the end of the 2 years, what is the cost?
There's, so 179,000 included 2 years of the leasing
Okay.
and the installation of it.
Mhm.
Obviously, in the second year, there's no installation,
Right.
so that's why the price is.
Yeah,
It's not quite 90,000. I think it's 72,000 a year,
okay.
and that's
Around that.
for 24 cameras. And while that sounds like a lot, each camera covers a lane and a half.
And they're
So
just at intersections.
that's what my proposal is. We would just
Mhm.
put them at intersections.
Okay.
We can also integrate existing flock systems, so both Lowe's and Walmart
Mm.
are putting these in nationally. They're beginning their Western Washington expansion of those. So going with our public service priorities and working with our box stores.
You're right.
While it's the auto theft grant that's paying for it, these are being used to solve homicides, shootings. The idea is car comes through an intersection and the camera's always going. And it takes the rear license plate in the rear of the car and it can then tell you the license plate, the make, model of the car. It doesn't give the registration. Police officers still need to look that up. It doesn't take pictures of faces. It can't tell you the number of occupants. It only tracks vehicles that are used in crime. It's tracking all vehicles.
Do you get a live alert though? Like how does the alert happen?
Correct. So we will get a live alert
Mhm.
on things that are stolen cars, silver alerts. So people who maybe have Alzheimer's who've driven off in a car, cars involved in amber alerts. And then other cities that we would enter, basically a friends agreement with, they can build a hot sheet. So let's say there was a murder in Puyallup, they have a flock system. They can put the information in the system and we would get an alert that a vehicle used in a homicide just went through this intersection. They would also get that alert. So even if we don't find it, we may get, 3 hits in a week. That car has gone through this intersection around 7 or 8 AM 3 times this week. It helps track down the nexus of where the suspects are hiding.
If you put in a silver alert, for example, do you get, like who's getting that alert in that moment if they find the car? If the
Yeah.
camera senses the car?
Yeah, so what the police officers would do, and they're accessing that, by the way, through NCIC's public database.
Okay.
So they're not accessing our databases, it's NCIC's public database. Officers would come in and they have their computer up and they would open up Flock as well. And as they're driving around, it'll bloop, 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 make whatever noise it makes. And then they can click on Flock and see what the vehicle, what's going on. Hey, silver alert vehicle, white Toyota Camry such and such was just at this intersection. They can now go to the area and try and find it. It does not track vehicles beyond the intersection. So once a vehicle is beyond the scope of the camera, it's beyond the scope of the camera. So it is not a tracking system where we can track vehicles. And the videos expire after 30 days. We can actually set that to whatever we want. So after 30 days, the video gets written over and it's gone. The idea is that in a 30-day period, we should have a good idea if a crime occurred that we need evidence for.
Mm.
City of Eatonville, they set theirs at 15 days. They're also a much smaller city, but we have some real flexibility of what we can do with the system. If we don't like 30 days, we can pick 24 days, 21 days, whatever we want it to be. And that's gone forever. You can't go back and get it. We also have the ability to set the policy for using this, right? It's not a live viewing camera, so I can't turn it on from my patrol car or from the precinct and pan around. It's a fixed camera. You have to go in and access the evidence. There's an audit trail to the evidence portion. So if an officer wants to try and do a search, they have to put in their name and then the reason, normally the case number for the criminal investigation. So I, as the chief, can go through and say, hey, why has Assistant Chief Keller run 30 searches in the last day on these different vehicles when he's not doing investigations? There is an audit trail, just like we audit all of our other computer programs to make sure they're being used correctly. This is sometimes thought of as AI because the computer's finding it, and we can have a search parameter, right? So if there were a shooting, heaven forbid, at Costco, we could say a shooting occurred at 3 p.m. on Friday and suspect vehicle was a red sedan. We can put in that time frame that we're looking for, 10 minutes either way, right? That date, red sedans, and it will tell us any red sedans that went through our computers. So we can read through those intersections, and that's how you find
And
the
any police officer can do this search, right?
any Bonney Lake officer.
Right, right, like
Yeah.
on the flock system that they would log into.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Sometimes people think that's AI. I don't really think it is. It's, for me, it's crime analysis. I can sit a detective down at a video and sit there and watch hours and hours of it and write, okay, these 20 cars came through and do a comparison, right? We don't have a crime analysis. It's massively expensive. Like that's a full FTE plus the equipment. This is going to do crime analysis for us and help us. So what is it used for? Right? The initial things that you get hits for are stolen vehicles, amber alerts, silver alerts, other wanted vehicles that friend agencies have done. What it really does for us is it gives us evidence for crimes that occur within Bonney Lake. Both Lakewood and Puyallup have solved multiple shootings because the shooting occurred and then the car drove through one of their cameras and they got the license plate right away. Then they're able to track down the registered owner, find out who the suspect is, and do an investigation and make an arrest. Yakima solved a kidnapping within an hour because the same kind of thing. They got the hit, they put it through. Yakima was the test case. They now have over 100 cameras in Yakima, and they are solving shootings left and right. And when I bring the people from Flock here, if you want to hear from them, they'll be able to give you all the stats and success stories. And also talk to you about, hey, here are concerns. We're not the only city that has had Flock come in that like, we're not sure about this. Have gone for it like it. City of Puyallup did a test bed, and before the police chief could come back asking to redo it, city council actually liked it so much it said we want double the amount of cameras right now. So what I'm asking is just, are you interested in that for me to bring this to a workshop with a Flock representative to discuss?
Yeah, so this is not about running a red light or.
This is not a vehicle enforcement, and we have the ability as a police department to set the policy for what you can use it for,
Yeah.
right? We can make it felony crimes, we can make it, you know,
not
hit and run. It's not ticket, this is not traffic enforcement, this does not mail anyone a ticket.
Okay,
It's just, we can go back, review the camera, that's the evidence of the suspect vehicle, and go forward with our investigation like we normally do.
okay. And that particular incident that I gave you, actually, I believe in my heart saved me and my daughter's life because we were within a block of where they found him. And I was there when that happened. So I'm all in because if Scottsdale had not have had that license plate recognition system where they were able to talk to their friends from the surprise, who knows what that man could have done. So I think, yeah, and I will definitely be on board with that. I thought we were talking about those doggone mail tickets.
Nope.
Scottsdale has a lot of those and I hate them.
So I'm hearing bring it forward to a workshop.
Yeah, when is the next workshop?
It is
Days
the
canceled, so July.
second.
And I'll have to work with Flock to see what I can get them here as well.
Is there a way to put it on like a full council?
Hey, you could do it
At
as a
some
presentation.
point,
Do it as a
like a
presentation.
presentation for full council?
I'll get it as soon as possible. We're meeting again Friday. We're meeting regularly. I've already developed a map where we put things.
Is it possible then, as soon as he can find out when the flock person comes, whether it's a workshop or not, they can come and do the presentation? Okay,
Yes.
why don't we do that?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
It just worked. I'm sure you will. She will work with
the clerk's office, because we have some meetings that are already
Yeah,
booked.
I look forward,
Yes,
boy.
Yeah, as soon as we can, we'll get it on.
And then is there anything else I need to say as far as, you know, there's all kinds of different.
In order to accept.
There's no, we don't need to sign any.
Yeah.
Paper for that one, because it's a presentation.
To give direction, nothing like that. Okay, perfect. Okay,
Do you have, sorry, Councilman Baldwin, did you have the added agenda item for tonight's meeting?
on this, no.
Yes. May I read that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
And we'll move on to discussion item number something, and
Number 2,
Leslie Harris is
Yeah.
going to.
So
explain
it
that.
is, a motion of the city council authorizing Judge Daniels to sign a memorandum of understanding with Consejo Counseling and Referral Service to provide a qualified behavioral health substance use disorder, professional and related services to the Bonney Lake Community Court. And Judge Daniels is on the, virtually, and then our branch administrator, Jerry, is here.
Okay,
And Judge Daniels,
yeah, did you have anything?
needed?
Yeah,
I'm up at Harborview and I'm in a public area. I'm observing and listening, but I'm gonna let Jerry address you. I'm just here if you have any questions that she cannot answer.
okay.
Hi, I'm Jerry, your judicial branch administrator for the court. We have a memo of understanding with Rainier Recovery, that works with our community court. And last week, on June the 6th, Her Honor in the court was made aware of, some issues at Rainier Recovery. It looks like, some of the, behavioral health and mental health professionals were not being supervised during the evaluation process. And some of the, I believe during the treatment sessions, can't confirm that portion. And there's some other issues going on there. Her Honor has found out that there is a investigation pending. So on that point, the court has terminated the policy with Rainier Recovery at this point. And Consejo Counseling has offered their memo of understanding, which will take effect as of yesterday, June the 10th, through the end of this month, which is June the 30th, when the contract on this current community court funding ends. And we are asking for a motion to add this on to give Judge Daniels authorization to sign the MOU with Consejo during this period of time till the end of the month. And then within the next few weeks, Her Honor and I will be looking into what we're going to do moving forward. The next grant for community court, it's a no-stop grant, so it will resume again starting July the 1st until June the 30th of next year. And should be within the next few days to the next week, we should know what the committee at AOC has granted for the courts on this grant process, and we'll go forward with them. At this point, we wanted to make sure that our participants are covered by qualified evaluators and counselors, and that the supervisors are present, and that their recovery is not put in a detrimental status, and there's no lag in between on their treatment services. And so we're just asking that Judge Daniels may be authorized to sign on with Consejo till the end of this month on June the 30th.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank you guys for making sure that you're keeping the standard high, right? And if things are not working out, then they absolutely should be then terminated.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I understand then, so the MOU with Rainier Recovery was terminated due to a pending investigation.
Yes.
Okay, and you're gonna have Consejo Counseling basically just temporarily fill from June 10th to June 30th to help participants while you search for a more permanent, solution
That is correct for
Okay.
the next grant cycle.
for the next grant cycle.
Which starts July 1st.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. Mm-hmm.
And as Jerry had asking that you put this on tonight, make a motion to amend the
Absolutely.
agenda tonight.
Yes.
Put it on tonight.
Yep, okay, yes. Do I need to make the motion?
Yes,
Okay,
so
To it-
when we get to
to-
agenda modifications.
okay. Yeah, that sounds great. We would love to do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
that. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, any open committee discussions, under item F? Anybody have anything they'd like to? add to it? Okay, and there's, no public, persons present and or online? Okay, no one online? Okay, we are adjourned.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your
Oh,
Honor.
I did have a question. Do
You don't
we
have
need
to-
to
okay. Oh.
excuse anybody